Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian Farmhertz, Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your end of day recap for Thursday, the 29th. We've got one more day of June, and then we're going to be on to a new month and new second half of the year. Very exciting. We'll talk more about that second half of the year next week. We'll be doing a member webinar where we talk about some of the themes, the technicals, so on and so forth, and that will be for members. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that you're going that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Please read the full risk disclaimer right there. Also, if the video is out of focus or out of context, you can change that. There's an option for you to kind of to change that. Sometimes YouTube does take a while to render, so if the video is fuzzy, you could always mess around with that and get the picture more clear. Just a side note, as somebody mentioned that to me yesterday. Also, before we get into the video, if you're not a member of Tribeca Trade Group, here you can check it out. I will be running a first week of July special, kind of 4th of July special for only for first-time members. You can get half off your first month, and I'll only be doing that for next week, 4th of July special. Don't forget, we have a half day on Friday, and then we're off on Tuesday. But this is what you get. We do a pre-market session every morning where we go through a quick macro review on what all the indices are doing internationally, as well as what futures are doing in the US, what to watch for economics, and any other events that we've got. And I also bring you through my watch list and talk about any additions to the watch list that we kind of build along the week. So we do all that starting at 9-10 in the morning, and then of course you can watch me trade live, and here's what our trade blotter, my trade blotter looks like. But you could kind of see how this goes, and every day I send out what my open positions look like, what they're what if they're up or down. I mark them to market every day so that you could see what they're doing, as well as the watch list that I provide. So that midday note gets sent out around like 12:30ish, and it's a great snapshot. If you can't be in front of the screens all day long, you can get caught up very quickly. I also give you, what the themes of the day are, and what areas of the market are really moving. So let's get to that. Let's get to the price action. And quick themes for the day is, very impressive in terms of the small and mid caps. They continue to outperform this week. I think the small caps have been up 3 or 4 days in a row. We could break this out right here for you. Yeah, it's every day this week, right? Even though Monday, remember going back to Monday, the small caps were up most of the day, and then there was a little bit of volatility in the afternoon on Monday, but they still eked out a gain. And you could see last week all red, this week all green. How about that? So very nice, and that's been performing. The Qs were a little bit light today. They didn't have the performance. But one of the things that I've been stressing in the Tribeca Trade Group trading room is that, hey, give this group a little bit of a break, especially because it is skewed by the mega caps and the growth names, right? They're going to drive the index because they are large portions of the indices. But like the FANG names, right? Those names are kind of just digesting, right? And you kind of have to be realistic, right? It's a word that I use a lot in the trading room, right? Those names have had some really big gains this year. So let them do what they're doing and go and sideways. Besides Apple, which has just been continuing to make a new high. There's Citigroup actually raised their price target to a street high today. So you have to kind of laugh at some of the broker ratings because a lot of times they're really late. But it is what it is. We can't control the brokers putting out price target raises, but set alerts on the other names, right? And in my opinion, don't force trades. Also, if you're in longer term trades, some of these names consolidating, that's not a bad thing, right? And rotation under the hood. So what performed well today? So besides the small caps, well, let me go through the indices really quickly, and I'll give you some things to watch here. But of course, right? I mean, this is very, as I've been also calling it all week, textbook, right? Breakout, a bit extended and, getting right to the 20-period moving average and bouncing. The 1 hour charts is something that I look at in the very short term. This was a little bit sticky, which again is perfectly fine, right? This was a move all the way through the value area for the week, right? That's what the 80% rule is. Once you are below the value area and you enter it. So the 80% rule is complete, but yeah, we kind of paused a bit a couple times today at 44.3225. It was a little bit choppy this afternoon, but a strong close, similar to yesterday. Here's what the Qs look like. I tweeted this chart out earlier. Again, just hasn't had momentum the last couple days, or particularly today, but it's holding where it needed to. What's that level? Using volume at price and our market webs indicator, 362.35, right? That's a level for you to watch. Again, super short-term stuff. And then the IWM, I was surprised it made it through the value area. So again, 80% rule fulfilled, move all the way through this week's value area on the 1 hour chart and sitting there above value. Again, still not my favorite chart in the world, but hey, if you could take advantage of this thing moving sideways and, where the dips are getting bought or at the 200-day moving average, do I know if it gets above this peak? No, I don't. And I would be probably taking some profits there because it is more of a sideways chart. When you go to the top of the range, you take some profits, right? You could buy the dip a little bit in a sideways chart and then sell the rip. You could do all those types of things when you have a sideways type market. The mid caps have been acting better. All right, here's the mid caps. They had a really robust day and they're actually above this peak, right? The mid caps don't get as much attention usually, but there you have it, right? And I wanted to talk about what's going on with the overall sectors. So yesterday was the software names were very strong. I think some of those names did okay today, just a little bit more select than they were the day before. What was interesting, is the gold miners made a bounce. Gold, I think, found the 200-day moving average and so far is holding it. Still, I mean, if you're looking for a bounce, note last time what it did at the 200-day moving average was it got down there, bounced, retested, and then moved higher. But still, I think a bounce is in the cards, but this is not a great looking overall trending chart. It's sideways. Right, but it could bounce just like we went over with the IWMs. But what I really like is some of this rotation that we're seeing, right? And steel names were up 2%, metals and mining up 2%, right? The industrials, which have just been absolutely on fire, right? That's a group that you've heard me talk about over and over in these end of day videos, right? If you are on our Substack post, you know that I send out this list of out of the box names, right? Names that are breaking out on 3 different timeframes. Once again, this has been nothing new, but look at all the industrial names, right? That is the biggest sector when you kind of look at what has had the biggest participation, right? It's a lot of industrial names, and there's a couple of ETFs, right? So I did go long the XLI today. This is the of course, market cap weighted industrials ETF. I like this, and I'm seeing this in a lot of places. It's not a perfect cup and handle, but you got a breakout, retest, and now a charge higher, right? So I'm seeing that all over the place. This is one of my favorite ETFs. It's a favorite ETF as long as it's performing well. But again, this is an ETF that you don't really hear anybody talking about it except for me, unless I don't know of anybody else talking about it. But this is it's the Industrial Revolution ETF, right? Again, and it's always important what names are in the ETF, not the name, not the exact name of the ETF. I just sent a post about this a little bit earlier, but if you look at this thing, right? So it's a really tough ETF to kind of remember. But it's got names like, again, just bigger, sorry, not bigger, but names that are, I call it the nuts and bolts ETF, because it's names like ATKR, Atcor, which is a steel name, Hubble, right? MTZ, right? DY. I mean, these names are, if you go through these names, they've had some great performance. Today was GBX, right? So if you look at the performance of this, it just continues to act. Whoops. Wrong screen. continues to act really well. It's been doing that now for a while. GBX was the big performer today, but again, you go through these names and it's a lot of strength, right? And here's this flag pattern or pennant digestion, even you can call it, I guess, a cup and handle. This I think is more of a cup handle and breakout. And I've been long this name, this ETF various parts of this year. I'm actually long in the TTG trend portfolio, and then I also got long in my trading account, and I've been waiting for like the last couple of weeks to hit a target, but I got it, right? And again, I get more patient with things I'm a little bit more comfortable in. So really nice. Again, that's where I see a lot of strength. And you can see, speaking of my trade blotter, but you can see I got long this XLI. And yeah, here was my first target in AIRR. A couple other trades that you've heard me mention. I got out of Generac, right? This was a name that I've been long the last few days. It did have a bit of a reversal bar, so I took that name off. RMBS, nice move today. I took a healthy target in this today. Broadcom is another semi name that I almost took this trade off at the end of the day, but I kept it on because my ultimate price target is this 870. And we'll see if we get that for tomorrow. Other names, I mentioned the other industrial names that I'm looking at. PPG is actually a material name, right? But this is one that again is just moving in the right direction. Kind of big long base. I'm not sure if I would call it a base, but it's resolving higher. Let's keep it simple. Also, ROP is another name that I'm watching. Roper Technologies. This is a tech company that's also involved in the industrials. So perfect. You got two strong sectors in there. ORCL. Right, this is a new trade for me. Why did I add this trade today? Right, because it finally came into the 20-day moving average. Right, this is a name I've made a lot of money in this year. I actually tried it back in here at the 5-day, and it didn't hold. So I abandoned the trade. Wait for it, and bought it today on this nice test of the 20-day moving average. Again, we'll still have work to do. It's got to get back above the 5-day moving average. But for now, you can see I took a target in this thing and got my first target in. And this way, I'm taking some off the table. Because reminder, we have the PCE deflator tomorrow at 8:30, which is a widely watched by the Fed gauge of inflation for tomorrow. All right. And I'll go over one more thing in just a second. All right, so here's for tomorrow, PCE deflator. They're looking for 0.1 for the monthly change, right? 1/10%, and then the year-over-year number is 3.8. And then the last name to kind of look at for the day, well, two names. UNP, which has seen some little bit of call activity. I like this name. Also trying to kind of put a little bit small cup here, retest the 200-day moving average, and we'll see if that one breaks higher. That name's on my watch list. Also, Uber. Right, I was talking about Uber and how they've been increasing their prices. If you've recently tried to take an Uber, I think it depends on the time that you order the Uber too. But I like the little pushback. Right, also push back into 20-day moving average. Why is that important? Right, well, you got to pull back in an uptrend, number one, and where the trade, basically where to take the trade off if it doesn't work. In my opinion, it's right at that 20-day moving average in a name that's in an uptrend. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in the trading room. Have a great night, everybody.